Next, I'm going to call Greg Frank. He's our Executive Director of the Pro-Life Youth Congress.
Thanks, Matt. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here today. It's really a great pleasure and an honor to be speaking before such a great crowd. This is our 4th annual leadership retreat. When we had our first one, there were about a dozen of us. And the second time around, we had about 25. Last year, we had about 30, and this year we've doubled to about 50 to 60 of us. Walsh University has brought us in. They've adopted us. And they said, Greg, we really love your students. We love what they stand for. We love who they are. And we'd really like to become a more vibrant part of partnering with the Pro-Life Youth Congress and with the Life Education Group. So we feel very good about that. And some people say, Greg, how did this come about? And it really started about 5 years ago. A lot of us came back from Washington, D.C. We were fired up. We were really excited about pro-life. We went and stood with thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of our partners across America who love the unborn children, very passionate about serving God for this apostolate, defending innocent human life from conception until natural death. When we got off those buses, a lot of you were saying, what now? What are we going to do now? It's January 23rd. What's next? And we looked around and we said, you know, the next planned event is the bus trip for D.C. next year. And so we paused and said, why don't we create an organization? And 5 years ago, your first president, Hannah Garundi, the daughter of Dr. Ray Garundi, became our first president and founded the Pro-Life Youth Congress along with some students from St. Vincent St. Mary's High School who were all on the cross-country team who felt it in their heart to go defend life by holding signs of defending life and asking the women at the abortion facility in Akron to make a new decision and to choose life. So with that energy between Akron and Canton, we formed what became known as the Pro-Life Youth Congress. Eventually what happened next was that we had quarterly sessions. And as you guys came together and met in January for justice, April for abstinence and temperance, in the summer for fortitude and strength, and you meet in the fall now for prudence on how to make good decisions, you galvanized a beautiful opportunity for people to come on a quarterly basis. And now the national officers have chosen to get together on a monthly basis to plan the many events that are going forward. As this was going on at a larger level, a regional level, something very unique occurred. When we were out in Washington, D.C., people heard about us. Others would come back and start Googling pro-life in youth. The #1 domain that came up when you do that is the Pro-Life Youth Congress. But we felt a call to leadership at that point. And we started looking around who in America is leading the Pro-Life Youth Initiative. And we found that there was a vacuum of leadership. And so we took it upon ourselves to not only meet on a regular basis, quarterly, to take on the virtues, but we qualified the Pro-Life Youth Congress at that time to take on virtuous leadership. And we joined those two words together in union, and that is what we are known for. Where did we get our call? 2 areas. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to submit to you that as Americans and Canadians, our Declaration of Independence states that every single person in America has the right to life, to liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Without the right to life, there is no pursuit of happiness or anything else. The paramount, the greatest right that is being denied right now in America is the right to life. There is a Holocaust being performed in our very midst. And just as the conscience of our nation was pricked in the 1800s with the severe injustice of slavery, many people slumbered through the colonial era, the Jacksonian era, going up to the Civil War era, with slavery as there's nothing we can do about it. It's just part of the fabric of our society. But we got to get rid of it. It's unjust. Oh, we could never get rid of it. It would destroy the Southern economy. And they basically justified the existence of that great evil, slavery. It took leadership and courage to break us out of that injustice. Ladies and gentlemen, you are the abolitionists of the 21st century. You are called as a patriot, as an American, and you're called by God Almighty Himself. Jesus Christ told us, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And see, truth is not a something. The other side tries to paint these words of pro-choice and take what we love as Americans, the freedom to choose, and the other side has painted with a multi-million-dollar marketing campaign the choice of death and tried to make it ameliorative or positive or acceptable in our society. And yet we know that they have painted those choices words with death, much as Joseph Stalin and Goebbels and Hitler had done in the century before us. We are called, ladies and gentlemen, to stir the hearts of our neighbors, to stir the hearts in our churches, in our youth groups, in our schools, and in our cities. We are called to stand as the voice for the voiceless. And just as Jesus called His apostles, and Michael read for you, "Here I am, Lord, send me." We ask you, is there a tug in your heart? Is there something going on in your mind saying, Lord, am I being called? Am I worthy? What can I, a student, do to make a difference? There are so many on the other side. I submit to you, one can be a great many. You can be the beginning of a great movement. The beginning of slavery started with one person in an area and saying, I'm going to make a difference, and starting something. I'd like to turn our meeting back over to our illustrious current president before he turns the reins over so that he can take this to the next level. Matthew?